Joining me now is Vermont Congresswoman Becca Balint. Congresswoman, it's always so good to see you. We're less than a week away from you and a new Congress, the 119th, starting on January 3rd. But Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen already warning about the debt ceiling. In a letter to members of Congress Friday, including you, Yellen said that the U.S. government has less than 3 weeks to raise its debt limit before it will need to take extraordinary measures to sustain federal operations. I mean, after seeing the level of Republican dysfunction last week over funding the government just that little bit until March, how confident are you that this new Congress is going to be able to handle this new crisis?
Well, I have very little confidence because we saw for the last 2 years when they were in charge of the House that the Republicans within the House and their leaders do not know how to build a coalition. Every single time we had a crisis of, coming to the brink of a government shutdown, we had the default crisis. It was Democrats every single time that saved us from economic disaster. It was not the Republicans. And this last deal that we struck, everything was signed. We were literally an hour away from voting on the floor. You've got all the nonsense with Elon Musk and Trump weighing in. And all of a sudden, again, we're at the brink of an emergency. The Democrats have to come in and save the day. We will continue to show up with a seriousness of purpose. We will continue to show up with competency, but that is not at all what we'll be seeing from our colleagues across the aisle, unfortunately. One of the things I've been ruminating on in the last few days is that with Trump's Republican Party, there is no honor among thieves. They don't hold their words with each other. They don't hold our words with us. We don't know who we're going to be negotiating with, which has been a challenge for our great leader, Leader Jeffries. He always says, who am I negotiating with? Am I negotiating with Johnson? Am I negotiating with Trump, Elon Musk, Steve Bannon? Who is it that is on the other side of the table? And this will be the challenge for us.
I always am fond of saying that it's the Democrats that are always the adults in the room. But let's be frank, right? You got to work to try to get things done for the Americans. So this new Congress has a huge to-do list. And by the way, I'm not recommending that we kumbaya. Let me be very clear here. But the funding fight you have, because you have a March 14th government funding deadline, another one of those kick the can down the road moments with the Republicans just last week. Right. Trump's nominees have confirmation hearings, major bills coming for immigration enforcement and extending Trump's expiring 2017 tax law. I mean, the slim majority that Republicans have, Congresswoman, it's only 2 so far right now, 217 to 215. All this internal bickering, I mean, what's going to be prioritized, do you think, going into this 119th Congress?
Well, I know for us within the Democratic Party in the House right now, we understand, as Anne Applebaum has said, given the right conditions, any society can turn against democracy. That is the #1 issue for us, making sure that we have calm and focus and that we have a seriousness of purpose. And so there's a tightrope that we have to walk. We have to make sure government continues to function. We have to make sure that all of those agencies, all of those resources that Americans depend on continue to be there for them. While at the same time, we have to make sure that we do not give an inch on the issues related to the rule of law and the Constitution and making sure our courts are independent. This is a challenge with people who do not value competency, who do not value a functioning government. When you look at the people that Trump has nominated for these incredibly important positions, these are not qualified people. So it leads me to believe that actually he is trying to do some destruction from the inside. And so this has been a pattern, I believe, over the last 2 years with the House Republicans as well. So chaos and discord. And then you say, you see, what we need is a strong man. What we need is somebody in an authoritarian position to do the work because we can't trust democracies to function. It is incredibly cynical. It's incredibly craven. But, Hakeem Jeffries always says, calm is a choice. And we need to choose in this moment not to give into the chaos, not to give them an inch with their, not just nonsense, but with this very dangerous rhetoric, and make sure that we are doing both things at the same time, which is making sure that we can pass continuing resolutions. I say continuing resolutions and not a budget because for 2 years, They have governed from one short-term funding plan to another. This is not the way government is supposed to function. So it is going to be more of the same, but we're ready. And we know that we're in a much stronger position than when we were last time because they've lost seats within the House.
So, and I agree, you know, my show is every week, and every week it's the next CR after the next CR after the CR. I have to ask you, because I know you're very good about making sure that you stay grounded and that your boots stay on the ground from where you're from, and that you're always talking to your constituents, regardless of what their party affiliation is, right? And I have to ask, because this is something that I always want to know. You and we live in this incredible space of high information and detail. It's your job in Congress. It's my job to report what's going on and to provide the analysis about it. What are you and other Democrats going to be doing, seeing how we're getting into a next election cycle already, right? We're 2 years away from another important election cycle. What are you guys going to do to make sure that the everyday American who, according to polls and otherwise, said to the Democrats, we're going to pick somebody else, regardless of the level of incompetence and chaos that we all know exists? What are you guys doing to make sure that they understand that this continuing resolution after continuing resolution is a Republican problem, that the incompetency of the Trump nominees is a Republican problem, and that all of this falls at the feet of Trump and the Republicans, and it's not the Democrats' fault?
Right. This is the challenge for all of us. And so for me, you're right. I am someone who stays completely grounded in what my constituents need back home. But I also stay very grounded in the work that I did as a teacher for many years, teaching history and social studies. How do I take this very complicated material that I am faced with in committee or on the floor and make it digestible for most people who are casual observers of the news? That is most people. Not all folks are information and political nerds like ourselves who are watching shows like this, all of the folks out there. So I have to make sure that the language that I'm using makes sense to folks who just have a casual observance of what's happening. And you're right. It's about laying out the stakes, of course. And unfortunately, we are coming off of 8 years, essentially, of Trumpism, in which there is no more sense that there are actual facts, right? There's a constant stream of disinformation and misinformation. So, one, we have to figure out how we are communicating most directly with our constituents. Two, the avenues that we're using to communicate, but also understanding that we aren't starting necessarily from a place of agreeing on basic facts. So that's a tremendous amount of work that we have ahead of us, but I'm ready to do it.